Okay, now we're live. This is not the original link, but if anyone is on YouTube here and they can see this, that's great. We're going to kick off the 1 hour live stream here. I just got a message, some of you, and make sure you're over on the right video. The original link just didn't work. Like it went into some weird mode where it just said live stream failed, and then I can't get back into it. So that is super annoying. I have to see here. 11 people viewed. If you work in a team, you've got the original. Okay, how do we get back into this here? Is anyone here? Okay, a couple of you guys are back, so I'm just gonna kick it off. That sucks. The original link is gone, but we're gonna do things here. All right, so if you guys have been waiting for this, I don't need to intro this, but for those of you who are just stumbling across the start of this video, I'm doing a live video here for the next hour. And it's all about my GoPro setup and how I get the GoPro shots I do, and just like helping you guys with any little details you need to really like dial in your footage. So I'm just like leaving this hour open for any questions you have for me regarding that, and we can kick things off right away. To start things out, to begin with, I do have a folder on BubBlup, so the same cloud website that I use for getting you guys to submit your clips to me in my isolation videos. I'm using that same website to make folders full of like resources for a whole bunch of different things, like in regards to like GoPro. So I have like my camera settings, some tricks that I use, free presets. So if you want to color grade your clips to look like my clips, you can use that. I go over my vlogging setup, which I have right here, so I can dive more into that if you guys ask about it. And then like how I get stable footage, some gimbal tricks, and just a few example videos. So I'm gonna throw a link to all that stuff up here for you right now, and you can take a look at it. All right, so copy a link, paste it in the comments here. So go take a look at that. Okay, let's see. What is the best GoPro to start off with? That's what Liam's asking. And I honestly think like, oh man, if you could only have one GoPro for everything, I would get this one here. It's pretty muddy from yesterday, but I would get this one, the GoPro Max, because it's like so dialed, like you can do 360 stuff on it. And I'm gonna get into your question. Who had our question with? Oh yeah, Isaac, I'll get into your question with this answer as well. So yeah, the GoPro Max is cool because you can do everything on it. Like you can shoot 1440, which is like really tall video. If you mount it on your chest and just have it on the regular mount like this, and then you mount it on your chest, like get it down as far as you can on the chest mount. So it's sitting at like a 45-degree angle like that. And it shoots so tall with the 1440 that you'll be able to like catch the end of your full face helmet if you're wearing one. And you'll be able to catch like as far down as your knees in some parts, or even feet if you're manualing. And you can really crop it into like a YouTube video or an Instagram post or whatever you're doing. And even like vertical foot posts for like stories and TikTok and that sort of thing. Like you can do a ton of stuff. So it's like the most versatile camera. It's super stable. I've been using this more than my gimbal lately, and I think that's because it's just so versatile and like it's so much easier to set up. I do like having a gimbal a little more in terms of like stability, but this is almost as good and works really well. And I think it might even be the best GoPro to start off with because it's a little more expensive than the Heroes. I think you're looking at like $700 Canadian for this one. But I mean, if you think about it, compared to other camera gear that's out there in general, GoPros are quite cheap. And if you can afford it, like definitely get it and just like play around with it. It won't get you the quality of a Hero, but it will give you a lot more stuff to play with. And the 360 cameras are cool too. And I think they're pretty rad because you can do photos with them. Like I have this one here, and someone actually recommended this to me in Instagram DMs. So it's called GoBuddy. If you're looking for like poles for your 360 cameras, definitely get one of these because they're like nice and really lightweight. Like this weighs like nothing, so you barely feel it on your helmet. And this is the longer piece of the two. This one's about like a foot long. And you can get one that's like 6 inches long, so like half of that. And that's cool too. But like having this off the end of your helmet, like mounted off like right above your visor on a full face or half lid, like that's really cool because you can like see your whole body and your bike, and you can get some really good screen grabs. And that's kind of what I really like about the 360 camera. I honestly use it more for photos. I find the videos to be a little weird, not quite as good a quality. Some people can get really good like 360 shots with dirt jumping. I find for like general mountain biking, it's not that practical, but for like more slope style dirt jumpy stuff, it's a really cool perspective for certain tricks. Okay, next question here. So Lacey's saying, I got the Hero 8. I can't use super zoom and image stabilization at the same time. How do you make the video more stable in super zoom? Oh man, that's a tough one, because like the reason like footage is stable is because it does shoot so wide. So like way back in the day, I heard this conversation on the chairlift yesterday. Way back in the day, a lot of guys used to use like the really old GoPro footage, and then they would shoot as wide as possible. This was before any like gimbals or stabilization. And then they would crop it in as tight as possible with it still like looking okay. So they would like crop it in so you could see way less of the trail. You're pretty much just looking at like the very top of the handlebars and a little bit ahead. But it would make everything look way more stable, because when you cut out the edges, the stability goes way up. So there's no possible way of getting super zoom to work and have image stabilization on. Like, it's not the way the cameras are designed to work. And that's another reason why I love just using the GoPro Hero 7 over the 8. I haven't converted to the 8 or the 9. And the reason I haven't even gone to the 9, because the hyper smooth on the 9 is arguably better than the Max, and the quality is higher. But it does do a horizon leveling feature, which I've heard going through like corners and tight spaces, like it tries to like level out, and it's going to make your riding look weird. It's not going to look natural, and it's going to be like more laggy than a GoPro even. So I've heard like mixed reviews on the new GoPro 9 already. And yeah, if you have the 8, it's still a really good camera, but super zoom is just not an option, at least what I know. And if you're looking at like a really stable setup, then go like wherever I have my gimbal. I thought I had all my stuff sitting out here. Let me grab it. It's sitting in my bag here for sure. There we go. Okay, so I do have my gimbal. So my Karma Grip gimbal. These are awesome, and it's super bulky. But if you look at how like big and heavy this is, that's the reason why it's so stable. Like, you can have this on like the newest GoPro chesty. So this big one here with all the padding in the back. Make sure you have this one. This combined with this might be a little bulky, but you're getting like amazing footage with it. It's so crazy, like 100 times better than any hyper smooth, because it's not digital stabilization, it's physical stabilization. And the batteries in these things are so powerful. They're pretty heavy to ride with, but they're so powerful. They're going to follow you through in turns. It's going to look exceptionally better than the Hero 8, the Hero 9, and the 7 on its own, the like original hyper smooth, is still pretty decent. So even if you just want to like throw this on your helmet for a smoother jump trail or for dirt jumping, it's pretty good. Okay, let's see what else you guys are asking here. Yeah, so BM Outdoors, he's saying like GoPros are only $400 on the website now. That's pretty good. Like, I would honestly look for a 7 if you're looking for like a good starter camera, a 7 and like a decent gimbal. One of these Karma Grips if you can, because they're like actually quite cheap right now, and it's a little cumbersome to ride in. But I mean, it's like if you're looking for the best footage possible versus like the least evasive. Oh, you're asking about Super View, Lacey. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So the Super View you're telling me does not work with the Hyper Smooth on the 9 or on the 8. Let me take a look. I'm going to take a look at my camera right now and see if the 7 has the same issue here. Okay, so when I have mine on, I'm going to try it in 4K too, just as like an experiment, because if I can do this on the 7, I can do it on the 8. The 8's a bit of an upgrade. Okay, so if I'm in 4K trying to shoot at 30 frames a second here, hard to see on my camera, but it's saying stabilization is not supported. I can only have it in 2.7K. So I don't know about the 8, but maybe you're trying to shoot in too high a resolution or too high of a frame rate. So try bumping the frame rate down to 30 if you're up at 60 or higher, and then try going down at 2.7K if you're up 4K. I don't know the exact specs of the 8, but that is probably one of the issues. You're probably either in too high of a resolution or too high of a frame rate. Sometimes like the hypersmooth technology can't handle like one of the two. Like, as soon as you bump up frame rates and resolutions, the camera's working a lot harder. Okay, does the GoPro Max battery last longer than the 8? Yes, I find it actually does last quite a bit longer. So let's take a look at the batteries here. If I pull out the Max battery, it's pretty big. It's like that size compared to the Hero 7 battery, which I don't know if the 8 is the same battery as the 7 or not. I think it is, but like they're a little different in size. The Max is slightly bigger. Like the Hero's a little wider, but like this is way, way taller. Like, look at the difference there. And that much of a bigger battery is going to make it last longer. I'm sure that 360 footage does use a lot more memory because it's shooting in 5K, but I mean, it's not going to be that significant of a difference. And I've found like, okay, for example, I haven't charged this since yesterday. I was filming for like 4 runs in the bike park and filming a few things, just talking to the max. And I'm at 60% battery right now. I think I started with like 87% battery. So after like a couple hours of running the camera, like not straight, but after a couple hours of having the camera on and off, I've burnt almost 30% battery, which I think is a lot better than my 7. Because like when I'm filming those time-lapse videos for my isolation series, like I'm running one of these things, which is a like big power bank. And I always have one battery charging while the other one's running, because about 10 seconds of time lapse in those videos is around an hour of digging. And in 1 hour of time lapse, I burn through like half of this battery, and I never want it to die. So I'll just like swap up the batteries once they drop below 50 and recharge them. And I find, yeah, the battery life on the GoPros, on the Heroes, isn't great. I don't know what the newest ones are like. Why don't you guys leave some comments? Let me know your experience with those. Okay, Kaden's asking if I make the quality better during editing. I don't actually. I actually bring the quality down so I can export it to Instagram and other sites for like the best quality possible. I'm still like trying to figure out YouTube encoding, but with Instagram, I found that if you post anything above 720p, it's going to like use its own compression and really bring down the quality. So like I've been able to keep like HD quality videos on Instagram by bumping down the quality in Premiere. So I'll pull the video into Adobe Premiere. I'll color grade it. I have my own color grading preset, so I'll paste a link in the comments here. So check out that link. And that is like what I'm using for, if you go to the free presets folder, once you join that group folder, you can download it and just drag it into Premiere. And basically all I'm doing is like making the colors and tones a little more like colder and more blue. I'm kind of washing it out, giving that bit of like a film look, and then boosting up the vibrance on everything. So I do like kind of make everything a little more vibrant and moody, but I don't like the actual physical video quality actually gets reduced when I export. Dave is asking what GoPro you would recommend me buying. That really depends on your budget. If you want something simple, you can just throw on your chest that is like as versatile as possible. Go with the GoPro Max. Like if someone's like, okay, you can only have one GoPro for the rest of the year, you can't use anything else, I would choose this camera because I can still do like basically everything I'm doing right now with it. And the quality might not be quite as good as the 7 even in some cases, like just for regular like POV shots. But man, it's pretty sweet camera. And like, yeah, just the versatility and the ability to like experiment, and like you can do a whole bunch of different stuff with it and decide like what kind your style is and what kind of content you're looking to make with it. Okay, should I invest in a GoPro? Is it good for filming, trail building, and riding? Yeah, man, like my isolation videos are shot like 90% with a GoPro. And then I have a few other little things that I use. So like I got, let's see here, another camera that's been my favorite go-to camera lately is the little Sony RX100. But this camera does not have like the best audio, and getting like audio for it is really annoying because you have to have like a separate audio like line completely. Like it doesn't have a mic input on it. And that's the big downside of the Sony RX100. But I mean, you can rapid fire photos at 24 frames a second, which is basically a video at that point. And I've gotten some really good action shots in low light with this. It has a really low aperture. It's really good for photos. You can do like really good like detailed shots. So let's see what I got on here. Like last video I shot was for like, I got some product shots on some stuff I can't show yet, but there was like, yeah, it's really good, like really good macro shots, really good close-up video. Quality is awesome. So for like a vlogging setup, this is cool for like secondary shots. And then for everything else, I use like, I have this mount I found on Amazon for my Hero 7. So I just have like a Rode microphone attached to the GoPro adapter for audio. And then I have the 7 plugged into it. And I almost bought the Hero 8 like 6 months ago and then got the media mod for it because it has the light and everything. But this kit also comes with a light, and it was a little more expensive than the media mod, but I wasn't like needing to upgrade my camera if I did that. So I could still use the 7. And I even compared a few different YouTube videos, and it showed that like this setup here is way better audio quality, and the lighting on it's way better than the Media Mod. So I went with that. So if you want to know what this one's called, it's called like Ulanzi. So I'll type it in here. This is the brand. There's a whole bunch of different configurations on Amazon you can find. They're pretty cheap. Ulanzi GoPro vlogging mount system. I think that's what it's called. Something like that. If you look that up, you'll find it. I just dropped a comment there for you guys to check out. And yeah, that's a really dialed way to go, because like the hyper smooth on this camera is so stable for just even like just talking to the camera. Like I'm pretty impressed with how well it works, and like I've been able to do like pretty good stuff with very minimal gear. I just basically use my little Sony camera, my GoPros, and that's like it for these YouTube videos. And then my buddy Scott Bell, who I shoot with sometimes, he'll come out and he's got like a Panasonic GH5, which is a really rad little camera. And that's an awesome option if you're looking to get more into filmmaking and shooting other riders, not just yourself. Okay, let's see what our questions we got here. Okay, I'm going to keep it GoPro related. On my GoPro, everything looks so little. Jumps are looking like 2-meter jumps. It's true. Everything looks so much smaller on a GoPro. Okay, so someone's asking, do you ever record riding at 24 frames a second? And yeah, I did that a lot more when I was just posting on Instagram mostly, before I really got into doing more YouTube content. And I found like 24 frames is so sick, because you got like all that motion blur. It's a little more cinematic, and like especially in low light situations when the shutter's a bit lower, like it makes the footage almost look faster than it is. So that's really cool. And yeah, I love the look of 24 frames, but it's really hard to like export 24 frames correctly to work on YouTube well. Like all the videos that you've seen on YouTube, if like my GoPro clips look a little choppy, that's because it's older footage that I posted that was shot in 24. So as soon as I bumped it up to 30, like it just smoothed out everything quite a bit, especially for YouTube. That was the biggest difference. Yeah, Isaac's asking how much the Hero 9 is. Someone's saying 450 US. And before any of you guys consider buying the GoPro Hero 9, I would really, really encourage you to research it a little more first, because I was talking to someone yesterday who said the new horizon leveling feature on the GoPro, although it sounds really cool, it can distort your riding and make things look weird, especially in corners. Like imagine you're railing a steep berm and then your camera just like levels off the horizon, and it kind of like flattens out the trail, and it has like a negative effect. Like it's not ideal for what you want. And I had a friend who was telling me about that yesterday, saying that 8 was like significantly better for mountain biking. So that's something to look into. Like, yeah, GoPro marketing is awesome. They like put out new products every season, and like they get you psyched to get the newest, greatest thing. But honestly, like I have no desire to upgrade from the 7 right now, because I find this is almost as good as the 8. And when I want really, really smooth footage with it, I use the Karma Grip gimbal. It's big and cumbersome, but the footage is way better than any digital stabilization on the market. And then if you don't want to wear a huge gimbal and you want something nice, go with the Hero Max. And in terms of like jump trails and smooth jump lines, the Max, in my opinion, does look better than a gimbal. How do you edit the quality of your footage at all? Okay, Kaden's asking about that. I use an editing program called Adobe Premiere Pro. So, I mean, there's lots of different programs. Like you can use the GoPro Studio, you can use like even iMovie and a few other things. But if you want like a powerful program, I just pay monthly for like Adobe Creative Cloud, because then I get Adobe Premiere Pro, I get Lightroom, I get Photoshop, I get all that stuff. Adobe Spark for like making titles for videos. You basically get the full package for like, it's around like $50 a month. So for someone like me who's like putting out stuff almost every day, like it's 100% worth it for me. But yeah, it's not that great. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve is another awesome one. Like, yeah, if you're looking for a free program for your videos, like DaVinci is cool because it's free unless you want to export in 4K. And honestly, when do you ever need to export in 4K? Like even this GoPro here, like I can't shoot higher resolution than 1440 for those like really tall, stable shots. And I mean, nothing on social media is even above 720p by the time it gets compressed. And nothing on YouTube is ever really above 1080p. So yeah, if you want a free video program that you can do like really powerful color grading in, check out DaVinci Resolve, because it's like, you can do way crazier stuff with the colors than I even can. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Calvin Huth. He's a friend of mine here on the island. He does like those really trippy abstract videos on YouTube that are really cool where he like switches all the colors up. He's doing all that in DaVinci Resolve, and he's like really, really good at that color grading stuff. And yeah, definitely check out DaVinci Resolve if you want a free program that's powerful and gives you all those color grading features. You won't be able to use my presets with DaVinci. They're only good with Adobe Premiere Pro for desktop. But yeah, it's still like, yeah, I feel like you could go into Resolve after seeing my presets in Premiere and almost like play around and like try a free trial with Adobe Premiere, play around with my presets, get a sense of like how to color like that, and then try to like apply those principles into Resolve. It'd be a bit of a learning curve, but you can make stuff look really crazy. I bet like it would be really cool. Best trail building mounts. Okay, that's a really good question. So here's one thing I do is I'm always looking for really fun, unique ways to like mount the GoPro in different places. And one thing I bought was this. It's like a bar mount for like going into like a rolling cage bar for quads and stuff. I think that's what it was used for, but it's a GoPro mount. This thing was like $40. You could probably make something like this for cheaper actually. But yeah, you can like, it's got like a bit of a padding inside, and then you can just like crank it down to any sort of tree. Like I go on a lot of tree branches with this, and I'll like crank this down, and then I'll take like my Go Buddy pole and then just like put it on there. And these are like really lightweight, so it's awesome. And then I can just like mount it like wherever and go in different angles. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I do that with this camera for a lot of those build lapses. And then I also use a Joby tripod. So I have one that's like made for a small mirrorless camera. So this is like pretty nice, lightweight and compact, weighs like nothing. And it fits my little Sony RX100 camera nicely. But I don't do any of my trail building time lapses with this camera. I do everything with the Hero 7 Black. And I'll give you some settings right now, and I'll write them in. What happens if you don't have trees to mount on? Well, one thing I've been doing is, so I'm going to ask Kyler's question before I get into my time-lapse settings. I take this mount here. I take this tripod, the Joby pod, and I just like put it on top of stumps. And if you don't have like literally anything to mount it on, like if this is only going to sit like a foot off the ground and that's lower than you want, use your buckets. So like if I'm digging with buckets, I always have extra buckets. I usually have like at least 1 or 2 extra buckets with me when I'm shoveling dirt. And I'll like stack 2 buckets on top of each other and then just like set this tripod on the buckets. And yeah, it works really well because then you can like move them around to any place, and they're sitting about like at least waist high off the ground, and it looks pretty decent. And that's what I've done for a lot of the isolation time lapses. I've just literally just sat my Joby pod on top of a couple buckets. Okay, so in order to like get a good time lapse, I find you want it to take a photo every 10 seconds. It depends on what you're doing, but say like you want to get 20 seconds of footage out of a couple hours of building. That's normally what I do. So here's my settings. I'm shooting at 4K for the time lapse with it taking a photo every 10 seconds at the wide point of view. It's the only field of view it gives me is wide. And 10 seconds is nice because I've found in my experience, a photo every 10-second interval gives you about 10 seconds of footage after 1 hour of building. And then you get about 20 seconds of footage after an hour if you do every 5 seconds. And 5-second intervals, I highly recommend that for like packing jumps. The last isolation video I posted, I was slap packing for like 3 hours. And I only got like 30 seconds of footage for that episode. And it was like a lot of work, and it didn't look like a lot got done because it like blew by so quickly. So if you really want to show like a takeoff of a jump or a landing getting packed really nicely, and you want to like document the whole process, then do 5-second intervals in your time lapses. Otherwise, if you want to show larger progress over a long time, then yeah, do every 10 seconds. Okay, there's a few questions I missed here, so let's get back up to there. Nice, I guess it's got the same tripod. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Someone's asking if I know when the Geordie Lund Bike Park will be open. It was supposed to open this month, but I think they're a little behind schedule. So maybe, I think like the pump track will be open really soon, but they might keep the big jumps closed all winter. Okay, let's see. Would love to see your slide cam setup. All right. So I'm not actually using a slide cam setup, which is kind of interesting. I'm using like the way I'm getting that effect with the thing move, like with the shot moving, is actually in post. So if you're in Adobe Premiere, you can go into like your settings. Like, I don't know how many of you are familiar in Premiere, and I don't want to turn this into like a Premiere tutorial because I'm still pretty new at this. But there's like, if you go to your effects panel in Adobe Premiere, you can change the positioning of your videos, and you can really like zoom things in. So I'm just like zooming in and out in post production. That's all I'm doing. I'm not using any slide cam or anything like that. Just to help you with like some terms here, for those of you who do use Premiere Pro, like there's tutorials out there. Just what I want you to search if you're looking for that is, let me just pull up a project here so I can find you guys the right wording. Okay, yeah. So if you're in Adobe Premiere Pro, and then you go to your effects panel, and then you go to position, and then you go to scale, you can just like click on scale, and then you can add keyframes. So if I have like a 2.7K timeline in Premiere, and I'm shooting my time-lapse footage in 4K, then about 70% of that is the entire thing. So when I drag it into the project, it zooms it in 30%. So I can zoom it back out, and then I can have it like slowly zoom in. If I like scale, if I go to scale and I add keyframes into the clip, then it will like slowly zoom in, and then I can have the next one zoom out. And that's kind of what I do. It's pretty technical, but if you're wondering how to get that like zoom in and out effect on your clips without using a slide cam or any additional tools, like just search on YouTube here, how to change the scale of your videos with keyframes in Adobe Premiere. So how to change the scale of your videos with keyframes. And it's really simple, actually. It's once you figure it out, you'll do it in like 2 seconds every time. It's really nice. I'm going to write that in here in case anyone missed what I said. So adjust the scale of your videos with keyframes in Adobe Premiere Pro. So if you YouTube search that in the subject or in the search bar, like I'm sure you'll find like a quick 2-minute tutorial on how to do that. Kind of more towards uploading. Okay, VM Outdoors is asking about uploads. When do you recommend, how many times a week, and what kind related to GoPro? Man, like honestly, the more the better. Like the more you can do, the better. I mean, I honestly feel like quality is subjective and quantity is always going to win on the internet. The more content you put out there, the more you'll understand what people like and don't like, right? Like if I post 3 things in a row that a bunch of people don't like, I mean, if they're going to unfollow me or unsubscribe for that reason, then it's like they weren't really that committed to what I'm posting in the first place. I think you just really need to get out there, post a bunch of stuff and see what you like. And I find if I post more than 3 times a week, I get like really good results on here. It's a lot of work though, for sure. I know I missed some questions, so I'm going to go up here a little bit. Someone's asking if I've been to Zuhalem. Yeah, it's really sick. I grew up in Victoria, so I'd go up there to ride a lot, like in high school and a few years right after. Let's see here. Questions. Sorry, I'm just reading through everything. What do you think is the best budget hero, and what do you think of the DJI Osmo Action? The DJI looks really cool. When we were in Mexico last year, one guy had it and he was getting amazing results with it, but it doesn't look as user-friendly as the GoPro. And this is funny. So you've probably noticed a lot of athletes have been promoting the Insta360 1R lately. And they actually sent me that camera 2 months ago, and they were going to pay me to post about it. And I had to decline, like, because I was using the camera, I was playing with it. And like, I know some people, like my teammate, Matt Jones, he got really epic footage with it, but I'm sure it took a lot of like tinkering and playing around to really like get comfortable with the software, because maybe I'm not that technical of a person, but I found the Insta360 stuff like not user-friendly at all. Kind of like the DJI, like the DJI is slightly better, but the 1R, like it was just like a nightmare to try to edit the footage, and it wasn't as seamless as the GoPro. So I mean, like GoPro is always the way to go. And the blacks, like anything that's a GoPro black is like the very best, like the 7, 8, or 9. And because of all the limitations on the new ones, like not being able to use a gimbal and the horizon leveling that might limit mountain biking, like just for the looks going through corners on the 9. The 8's a great camera, but I would say if you want to like a budget camera, try to find a good deal on a GoPro Hero 7 Black, because it's a couple years older, but you're better off going like back a couple years to the highest end camera that's a couple years old than like stepping down to a silver level camera, because you're just losing out on a lot of features for like a camera that's newer but not any better. And that, in my opinion, I think the best budget hero would be the Hero 7 Black. Like if I like could only ever use this camera for the rest of the time, I would not be bummed out about that. What's a good place to learn about creating my own presets in Premiere and Lightroom? Oh man, that's a really tough one. Like I had a friend actually help me like walk me through the color grading process when I made my own preset, and it would really be hard for me to repeat it, honestly. Like you have to go into like the luminosity adjustments and like really, or lumetri, the lumetri adjustments, and really like play around with things. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like just like go around and play with different colors. So if you go to the color panel and the lumetri panels of your program, and I mean, for me, the big thing I do is split toning. So I go to like my HSL secondary panel and mess around. But honestly, like if you want to learn in Premiere, just download my color grading preset. Use it as kind of like your base, and then like kind of work from there, because you can see like the basic settings I put in, and I had a friend help me with that same thing. And yeah, I'm just going to go with that and just go with that, and that's going to really help you. So I'm going to pull up my folder again and paste the link in here in case you guys are looking for my presets and can't find them. They're actually in this one here. Let's go here. Okay, that link there. And then once you join the folder, there's a free presets subfolder, and they're in there. Have you ever experimented with live streaming with a GoPro 7? Not yet. I mean, I'm just live streaming off my MacBook Pro right now. I've never tried with a GoPro. I'm not quite sure how to even do that. I have to still learn how to do that. Still need to play around with some more live stuff. I think that'd be really cool to like live stream time lapses or something like that, if it's even possible. I don't know. Let's see here. Someone's asking if they should buy a GoPro because they already have a cheap knockoff. It depends what your cheap knockoff is. I mean, GoPros are so user-friendly, and they're the only camera I've experienced in. And I mean, I've honestly been trying to get sponsored by them for a few years now, and I haven't had any luck, just because I genuinely like their gear so much, and I spend a lot of money on it. Like, look at all this GoPro stuff I have. I have like a Max. I have the 7. I have a bunch of spare batteries, like all these mounts. I've got a bunch of chest mounts. Like I got the new chest mount, and I got the old chest mount. I just got like so much GoPro stuff sitting around, and I've dropped so much money on this stuff. Like it's crazy. It would be awesome to partner with them one day. But I honestly, I don't know if the GoPro like knockoffs are even that good. Yeah, no experience there, so I can't honestly give you a good answer behind that. Someone's asking if I have the base model MacBook Pro. I actually have one of the faster ones. I spent about, I think it was around $5,000 last year to really get a quick one. Like, because if I'm doing a lot of video editing, I really want to like make sure I can edit smoothly and fast. And if it's saving me time, it's 100% worth the money. So I just like, I had a MacBook that I had for like 8 years. It was still kind of surviving. The last year I just like went for the expensive MacBook Pro, and yeah, no regrets, totally worth it. Someone's asking if I know Matt Jones. We're both sponsored by Marin. Yeah, I know Matt. I've rode with him in Whistler before. We're hoping to line something up this year, but with COVID, it's hard to do any of that. So I'm sure you'll see content of us together in the future, but not for a little while here. But yeah, super cool team. Like the whole Marin team is awesome. Everyone's really nice, and yeah, I love it. I love how we're like kind of a content-based team too. We're not just like competing and racing, and everyone's kind of got their own unique things. That's really cool. Okay, let's scroll up to see what our questions I missed. If you guys have any more, I got 22 minutes left before I got to jump out of this live here. Or what could I help you with that I haven't actually done yet? Let's see. Someone's asking for jumping advice. I'm going to share that stuff for like a riding, maybe live in the future. I want to keep this one focused on GoPro stuff. One thing I did, you can find in my folder, is you'll find this one interesting. I did a couple tutorial videos that are just in the bubble up folder. They're not posted anywhere else on like how to make your riding look better with the GoPro footage. And it kind of has a funny like approach to it because I made those videos with this in mind because this is so bulky and big. You do have to ride a little differently sometimes to like really make the footage look good. So it's just like kind of where you position yourself, how you tweak the bike, and a few little things like that. I kind of gave some like basic general riding tips in conjunction with like a big bulky GoPro setup like this. So if you're interested in that, if you're really interested in running this gimbal and getting like the most stable footage you possibly can, yeah, check out that video. Another thing too is yeah, what's cool, that's another reason like I keep pushing people towards the GoPro Max, is because you don't have to change the way you ride or anything. Like when I go out to the dirt jumps, this is the camera I want to throw on my chest because it's so wide, it's so smooth. When I'm like going up and down on the jumps, it's going to follow the lip. It's not just going to stay straight and like cut things out. I get a way wider field of view. It's so awesome. Like if I could get this lens in like 4K, like that would be insane. It'd be so amazing. I know that's going to come in the future. Like I cannot wait for the new GoPro 360 camera, whenever that's going to be. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep running this. And someone's asking, chest mount or helmet mount if you could only pick one. I would say chest mount because I just like that. Like I'd say chest mount, run as high as possible. So I'll give you an example. If you're running the GoPro Chesty, look at where my straps are sitting. So these are like, this is like the chest strap here. Like I'll get up a bit for this. It's on my chest like this, right? But the straps that are like the vertical straps, not the horizontal ones, the vertical ones that go over the top of your body, I run them like as low or as high as I can. So there's like no more room up here. So the lower they are down here, the lower on your chest the camera's going to sit. And I want them to sit as high as possible. And I find like a really high chest mount, like get it up like here, like just below your chin. So if you're in a full face helmet, if you have a full face helmet with the gimbal, your chin will hit your camera. And yeah, it's pretty weird and a bit annoying, but that's how you get like those insane shots where it looks like it's right below your chin. And I feel like that's better than both a like traditional chest mount or the helmet mount. The helmet mount, I find like the visor cuts out some of the frame, or the bike comes in and out of the frame a lot. And yeah, you see the trail moving in front of you. You don't see like the rider's movements as much. And it just doesn't seem like quite as interactive for the viewer. Like I like watching my old GoPro footage, especially when I'm injured and I feel like I'm on a ride again. I get that feeling of riding again. And I feel like you can only like relive that feeling through chest mount footage. And it's really hard to like look at a helmet cam and be like, oh yeah, that's like just like as I remember it. It's not quite as dialed in my opinion. Okay, how would you introduce more motion blur without using a dark ND filter? I mean, it's pretty easy to pull off where I live here because we're like in the Northwest and it gets really foggy and dark. So if I'm picking like a really low light situation, like the shutter will just go down on its own automatically, especially if a lower frame rate. But yeah, if you want more motion blur, crank your frame rate down to 24 frames a second. And that's Andrew asking that. So Andrew, if you're listening, yeah, go down to 24 frames a second. You're going to get a lot more motion blur and you're not going to like be opening up your lens more, and it's not going to be bringing in more light. It's just going to be like a little choppier and more blur, and that's going to give you that look. I've played around with some different GoPro filters. I was really into it like a year or two ago, but I found it didn't make a huge difference, and having good natural light is the biggest thing. Like you could have the most amazing ride of your life, and if the light's really bad, like there's not much you can do about it. And that's a big part of getting GoPro content, is really timing it. Like there's times where I've woken up like really early in the morning to get a shot because the sun's just poking through and I know it's not going to be a cloudy day and I want that nice even light. And then you get a bit of that golden light mixed in with like even light through the trees, and it just looks so good. So you really need to like just time when you're shooting, and you almost need to like just go out and ride with your friends for fun. And then once you know a trail well, then go back like on an early morning or later evening and get the shot kind of on your own and just like shred it as best you can. And that's going to get you the best content a lot of the time. In terms of like the actual quality of it, if you want the most exciting content, obviously you want to be riding with more people, but getting other people to wake up early and get that like golden light is pretty tough. I don't know why everyone's saying potato, but okay. What about the GoPro attached to the chin bar of a full face? I've never tried this, and I've never been like a huge fan of what that looks like. I just think it seems kind of like cumbersome and annoying. Like imagine having like a heavy camera like right on your chin. Like anything that weighs down your head, I'm not a fan of. Like even the long like GoPro like pull 360 pull on the helmet. I rarely ever film videos doing that, but I'll set up a photo and I'll ride like 30 seconds of trail to get the shot, and then I'll take it off for the rest of the day. I don't like having stuff on my head. It's just personal preference. But anytime like there's anything heavier than my helmet sitting on my head, it's like a huge pet peeve for me. And it's why I've never done the chin mount. Like I just don't like the feeling of that. It kind of ruins the riding experience for me. And although like this gimbal is really heavy and big, and I do use it for a lot of shots, when it's on my chest, like that's a stable location on my body. It's not weighing me down when I'm riding my bike. I can still do all the regular stuff. Like, yeah, you can't like X up or something or like do certain tricks because it's going to be in the way. But if you're just like ripping down a trail, like you're not going to notice the gimbal. And the one cool thing about the gimbal with the high chest mount, it's like the perfect substitute to the chin mount because it's going to look way more stable, way cleaner, and it's going to be basically at your chin. If you think about it, by the time it's here, right? If you run the chest mount as high as you can, and then you have this like on there, like look, it's basically at my chin now, and I don't have to have anything on my helmet. And that's why I run that. That's my personal preference. There's a lot of mixed opinions out there, so I honestly think like just go out there and find out what works best for you, because whatever's the most comfortable for you while you're riding is going to equate to the very best footage. So if like you are running a GoPro setup that like you just can't stand the feel of it, like it's not worth it, even if like someone tells you this is going to get you the best shot possible, because if it's annoying to ride in, it's going to affect your riding. And like, yeah, that's always tough. Like even yesterday I was riding with like winter gloves, like pretty thick gloves, because it was really cold up the hill. And I went to do a moto whip, my hand slipped off in the air and I just caught the bar in time. It was so sketchy. I almost went down on my collarbone again. I was like, oh man, this is brutal. And yeah, I was like, that's because I'm wearing gloves. Like that's why I don't wear gloves a lot of the time, because it restricts my riding. Anytime something attached to your body is restricting your riding or not feeling comfortable, don't do it. It's going to affect everything. Yeah, I wish I was riding too right now, Cam. I'm going to go for a ride after this. Noah's asking, do I bring a DSLR with me when I'm out riding? I don't, but sometimes I'll have buddies with me who are photographers and we'll stop and shoot. If I want to have like a nicer camera on me when I'm riding, this is my camera go-to, the Sony RX100. And this thing is sick. You can shoot photos at 24 frames a second in rapid fire mode. So you can like shoot a jump and get every single frame on that jump, which is really sick. Obviously, it's not DSLR quality, but it's a lot better than a phone, a lot better than a GoPro. And it's like one step below this camera that I've had for like 5 years now, the Sony a6000. This is a really cool camera. I actually have a prime lens on this one right now. It's a 35 mil lens that's can go down to f1.8, so it's really giving that low foggy light. I take a lot of my bike shots with this one. It's really good quality. But I'll sometimes ride with this. Like, yeah, that's pretty small. You can fit that in a riding bag. But if I want something really compact for like a bigger ride, then yeah, this camera is the way to go. You can even like throw this in your pocket. I mean, these little digital lenses, if you break that, that is going to be like the end of your camera. So it's kind of risky to do that, but technically you could throw it in your pocket and keep riding. So that's sweet. So I'm going to write down the cameras here in the comments. So the small camera is the Sony RX100. I think mine is the 5 I got a couple years ago. Bigger camera is the A6000. You can get the A6000 for really cheap now, and they have the A6500, which is like this one but shoots in 4K. That one's a couple years old. And then there's probably newer ones that are even better. I haven't looked at like the latest stuff from Sony in a while. But yeah, super good Sony cameras. They're dialed and they work really great. Someone said, have you looked into new ways of finding ways to export GoPro videos for Instagram? I've seen others that get really good quality through GoPros when posting to Instagram. Exporting. Okay, yeah. So I experimented with this a lot in Adobe Premiere Pro, and I found like if I exported at 720p while giving it a couple passes and doing a few little things, then that would give me like the optimal quality. And like I posted a few things on Instagram that were really low quality until I figured out, okay, this is really great. So if you use Adobe Premiere Pro, I'm going to write this out as I'm saying it. you use Adobe Premiere Pro, go in my folder, go to free presets, and download the exporting presets. Because the exporting presets that I have are like ideal for Instagram. And I played around with this for a while and it works really well. It's crazy. Like I use this preset every single time I post something on Instagram. And I mean, I don't know what it looks like on your end if you go to my feed right now, but I feel like the quality is pretty good. Like it's at least 720p every time when it posts up. And if you try to go like too high res, it really brings down the quality. So yeah, try that. And if you want to know how to import my exporting presets into Premiere, I have a video that teaches you that in the folder. It's only like a minute long. It's like 3 simple steps or something. So go in there. Someone's asking if I do you edit in your GoPro footage in an app to make it look even better? Yes. So if you missed the start of this live or near the start, I did show in that same folder. I'll keep throwing the link up here because I keep having answers in this folder for you guys. I do have presets for color grading in Premiere. So basically, if you want to copy like what I'm doing in terms of like the quality on Instagram and then the coloring I'm getting, then download Adobe Premiere Pro, download my free presets, drag them into the program, and then your footage can just get like dragged on top of mine. And oh, it's all good. Your footage, people keep asking the same questions because they come in at different times. But yeah, basically all your answers are on that folder. Like get Adobe Premiere Pro and play around with that. And you can copy my footage. If you don't want to pay for Adobe and you want the free option, then none of my presets will work. But like someone mentioned, and I'm going to leave it in the comment here, DaVinci Resolve is an awesome program that's completely free to use unless you export in 4K. And I don't know about you guys, but I never export in 4K, so I don't need to do that. Okay, let's see. Everyone's just cleaning sharp potatoes now, so I don't really know what's going on here. Let's see. Okay, I think we're pretty much covering everything. Someone's asking about like mods I use. I mean, I have no real like mods to the gear at all. One thing I do is, I mean, the cover that goes on the GoPro that keeps it waterproof, I pretty much lost that in like the first week of owning this camera. They pop off easily, but I don't really need it. And I find it's actually kind of nice not having it. So there's my first mod. It's not a very good mod because I just lost something on my camera, but if you keep that doorway off, it's easier access. I don't know. What else? What else have I modded? I mean, I do have, this is a lot better than the little media mod you can get for GoPro. So if you're ever like on Amazon, search the Ulanzi GoPro thing, and it's good for like the Hero 7 or older, and you get better quality audio than the 8. It's yeah, it's really nice, and I use that for my vlogging. I went into more detail earlier in the live here, so I don't want to keep repeating myself here. Someone's asking about a windscreen. Oh, that's actually a really good question. So yeah, where have I, oh yeah, the Insta360 I would highly not recommend you get that camera. And I feel so bad like shitting on them because like, oh man, they were like really nice to me in the email and they were going to pay me to post about their camera. And it was just terrible. The wind noise was awful and I couldn't handle it. But I mean, I don't even know if this is related at all, but when I took the doorway off this camera on the 7, the wind noise went down. And it really makes no sense, and I have no idea why, but it did sound better. Another thing is when I'm riding with the Karma Grip gimbal, look at how it sits in the camera here. It's like, this is so it can charge as you're using it. It just like presses in. And when you push this in, it's always a little bit annoying. But basically what I'm saying is when you get this on here, it significantly reduces the wind noise. You get a bit of like gimbal motor sound, but it's very subtle, especially compared to other gimbals. And I found like, yeah, it's really cool. Like that really brings down the wind noise. And then another reason why I recommend the GoPro Max over any other GoPro right now is because it's got like speakers on both sides that come like straight on. And if you notice on the Heroes, the speakers are on the sides. This has a side speaker too. But the software must do something because there's more speakers on this camera. So you would think it would pick up more wind noise, but I actually get like way less wind noise than anything, like even more than the Hero. Like the sound is awesome on this camera. It's really good. And yeah, the Max is sweet. I don't know what else to say about it. Bye, Matthew. Thanks for watching and tuning in. And what do I make of the new lens attachment for the 9? Honestly, I haven't done a lot of research on it. Yeah, it looks really cool. After talking to some people yesterday who have experimented with the 9 while riding, the horizon leveling feature kind of like made it a no sale for. They're like, no, I'm not going to buy this camera because the horizon leveling is messing up my riding footage. Like, imagine if the hyper smooth just levels out the corners as you're riding through them. It's not going to look natural. It's going to look like a fake weird gimbal effect. And I don't think GoPro really thought that through enough when they came out with that feature. And I don't know about the extra lens attachment, if that helps that effect or not. I honestly, sorry, Phil, I don't have a good answer for you there. I got to research it some more because I got excited about the 9 initially too. And I was like almost tempted just to like get one so I could improve my footage right away. But I'm just going to wait to see how other people review it and what they think. And in the meantime, I'm going to stick to my system that I'm using it now. Let's see, honestly, you're so good at riding so fast, you really need a Hero 8 or 9 to make it look stable. Well, you get it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to stick to like my gimbal and my 7 for now. And I'm going to keep using the Max because, like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave a comment. What do you think about the Max stability compared to the gimbal or compared to the 8? I mean, it's so hard to say what the best option is. And I think GoPro is still the best option out there. I mean, Insta360, no go for me. I'm sure you can make that camera really good and really cool, but it's going to take a lot of work and tweaking. And I like a really user-friendly system. I'm not a very like techie person, so I like things to be easy. And GoPro is the way to go for me. Thanks, Carson. Let's see. Thanks for acknowledging the potato raid. He gave us some good tips. Keep it up. The potato raid was intense. I'm glad we got through that. Yeah, someone's saying, thanks for saying the Insta360 is bad. Yeah, I mean, I hope they're not watching this, and I hope they don't hate me now because I have a free camera from them that I didn't post about. And I had to email them and tell them I don't want their money. And that's pretty hard, being like, hey, like, I don't want you to pay me because I don't like your camera. Like, I know most riders would take that opportunity and just do the best they could with that footage to make it look really great. And I know like a couple guys did a killer job making that footage look great. And I know it's possible, but I know it's not easy to do. It's not like a really easy, simple system. So I know GoPro is kind of like a foolproof system. And like, I'm pretty much a Grom when it comes to like being a technical person. Like, I can barely use Adobe Premiere Pro, which I edit in every week. So, I mean, the GoPro is the way to go for me right now. I want to like research some more of the DJI stuff because that looks really cool as well. Someone says they're still using their uncle's Hero 4. Is there a way to get to up the bit rate on it? Yeah, the Hero 8 is, the 4 is actually pretty sweet, man. Like, you can get like, I think like the bit rate really gets choppier too, and because it doesn't have very good stabilization on its own. And I was using, so last time I used the 4 was in 2017, but I was using the 4 with a wearable gimbal. And the footage, like, honestly, it wasn't a lot different from the footage I have now in terms of the bitrate quality. And I really want to help you here because I'm a firm believer in like not having to buy something newer than you need to. Like, I mean, everyone's trying to promote the latest, greatest products. But I mean, honestly, if you have a Hero 4 and that's all you can afford and you want to get some decent quality stuff out there, there's like the 4 you can do. So, what I'm going to do for you here, who was that? Oh, yeah. So the guy asking about his GoPro's Hero, his uncle's Hero 4, I'm going to show him some footage off Instagram. I got to scroll back pretty far, but I'm scrolling back right now, and I'm going to show you some footage that you can use with your Hero 4 and with my preset for like color grading and exporting. Actually, no color grading, just the exporting preset. I didn't do any color grading here. Oh man, I'm only back to like a year ago. This is gonna take a minute. Okay. I'm gonna come back to you in a second. I'm gonna answer some more questions in the last minute here, and then we're gonna kind of wrap it up with this example. Okay, well, it's pretty much just still you asking. Okay, thanks, man. So you're saying the footage sucks right now. I haven't been able to fix the settings yet. Anything important I should do? Okay, I'm gonna help you out right here, and I'm gonna type it in. Okay, so settings. this is what I would do if I had the Hero 4. I would shoot at 30 frames per second. I would shoot in the widest setting possible, so probably super view. And I would, let's see, whatever the highest frame rate you can get. So highest resolution at that setting. And if it's only 1080p, that's okay. Okay, and then if you want, like, if it's a little higher, that's great. If it's only like 720p, then bump down the, if it's less than 1080p at those settings, then bring the frame rate down to 24 frames per second. Okay, and then go with that. And then once you do that, and then oh wait, that was too long. Highest res, just bring down, okay. Okay, so try that. So 1080 is, okay, so yeah, I don't have a 4K monitor either. So settings, use 30 frames per second at the widest setting possible, super view. The highest res at that setting. So if you can only get 1080p, that's fine. If you can't even get 1080p at like super view, like say you can only do 720p, which I don't think is the case. I think that Hero 4 has the capability of doing super view in 1080. And bring down the frame rate to 24 frames if you have to. If not, leave it at 30 because that's a bit smoother for mostly YouTube, and it looks good on everything. And then go to my file folder here. So I'm gonna, let's see if I still have a link up. Yeah, I still have my link pasted. So yeah, once you do those things, go to this link, go to my free presets, download my exporting preset, drag your footage into Adobe Premiere Pro, upload or drag my preset in, export it like that, and you'll get pretty good results. And doing all those exact same things I just told you to do, you will get the following result here. This is using a wearable gimbal. So I'm just like scrolling my way back to 2017 on Instagram, which is a long time ago because I post a lot here. Let's see what we got. Trying to think of the best example possible. Okay, this is actually a pretty, see this one. This is a pretty good example. Okay, this one works. I'm going to throw this up here for you. That video that I just shared on that Instagram link, that is shot on a GoPro Hero 4 in 1080p super view, I think 24 frames a second. And then I did my own color grading, I think, in DaVinci Resolve in that one maybe, or is that my other preset? I don't know. One of my presets in there, and then my exporting preset, and that got me that exact look. So that is proof that you don't need anything newer than a 4 for the type of footage I'm doing. You're saying you're a gamer and used to watching stuff in minimum 60 frames. I'm wondering if that's really enough. Dude, that's a really good question, and I honestly don't know because I've never done like any of the gaming stuff before. A lower frame rate is generally a cooler look for mountain biking and action sport, but in terms of gaming, I can see that smoother, higher frame rate look really well. In your case, maybe you can do 60 frames at a narrower setting, and it will allow you to still do that, and then you can have the gimbal set up as well. I'm trying to imagine like what exactly you're doing, but yeah, try to, like, in a gaming situation, yeah, try bringing down the width of the frame and keep that frame rate higher and see how that works out for you. Isaac's asking if he should move to Canada, probably as soon as you can travel again. We got good bike riding here. And okay, yeah, 3 minutes over time, and I was a little late to start anyways, so that's all good. I got to get out of here, but yeah, thanks so much you guys for watching. Thanks for loving my videos. Thanks for everyone's comments, and I hope to like my bit of insight. I know it was like really quick, a little rambly, and a lot of information thrown into one short video. But I hope those of you who stuck around it and hung out for the live got a lot of value out of this. And I hope that you get a chance to look through that folder I put together. Remember, it's completely free. There's no catch. Everything is in there, and I generally just want to help. Like, I get so many messages every day, mostly on Instagram, asking me about my GoPro shots. So I would love to just like help as many people as possible in the easiest way possible. So all the resources are there, and yeah, you're welcome. I'd love to see some of you guys submit your footage to me, like even this week for my next isolation video with your GoPros. I'd love to see like how that went. So if you want to do that, just make sure you're in that group folder that I always share at the end of my videos. And while I'm at it, I might as well just do that again right now and say, now that you have this knowledge and now that you have the resource in front of you with that link, I would love you to like, yeah, just I'd be stoked to see a bunch of people's GoPro clips. Honestly, it would be cool to like make all those featured videos at the end of my next episode, like a bunch of GoPro shots from people who were in this live. That would be rad. And remember, you can always tag yourself in your videos if you want to put a watermark with your Instagram handle or what your YouTube or whatever it is. I have no problem adding that in my videos. Self-promotion where you can is always a good thing. So here you go. If you have any content you want to submit to me for my next video with your GoPro, throw it in that folder link right there that I just pasted. And yeah, you're welcome, everyone. See you next time. I'll have a new video coming out on the channel in the next day or two here. Okay, peace out. See you later. Thanks again.